Okay, hello everyone and welcome back to Injustice 2. Well, I haven't made an Injustice 2 video in ages, but I saw that a recent patch has hit the game. And I was looking over the patch notes because, I still keep up with this game sometimes. And I was like, finally they are addressing what I thought were some of the biggest balance issues with this game. And really one of the things that made me kind of stop playing it these last few months. Honestly, I think the last patch kind of really screwed up the balance of the game. It made some low tier characters extremely bad, while some of the really high tier characters either remained exactly as strong as they were before or even stronger. However, they are finally doing something to address the really problematic characters on both ends of the spectrum. So in this video, I'm going to be going over the balance changes really for the main characters that were affected. We're going to be talking about Fate, Firestorm, Black Adam, Captain Cold, and Deadshot. So let's get into it. So the first character we have to discuss is Deadshot. I honestly think that this is one of the characters that was the most screwed over by the overall patches of the game. I really think that NRS had no idea what to do with him. When the game first came out, he had way too many mix-ups. I mean, mix-ups that were way too good. And zoning that was way too good. They were like, okay, let's take away his mix-ups, which they did. However, the zoning was still a problem. They were like, okay, let's take away the zoning as well. So basically, you had a character that didn't do shit in the meta. He couldn't zone. He couldn't keep up with a lot of characters on the ground. I mean, that's good. But the problem with Deadshot is he is extremely predictable. He pretty much dies by the 50-50s, or used to at least. The biggest difference or the new thing added with this patch is that in trait, he gets his old shooting abilities back. As you can see, this is OG Deadshot. All you gotta do is pop trait. I mean, he's always been able to fire off bullets quickly, but you just look at this. Again, it's old Deadshot. And this is, I think, the perfect balance between the two. Because really, his old zoning, before it was touched, was pretty big of a problem. Even I, as a Deadshot player, someone who enjoys playing the character, thought that it was a little bit bullshit. This does two things. First of all, it gives you back the really good zoning with the trait. The thing about Deadshot's trait is that it lasts for quite a long time, and the cooldown isn't too bad, so you will be able to pop this a couple of times during the match. The second thing it adds is it actually serves or gives a purpose to the acid meter burn. The problem with the acid, not meter burn, the acid trait, the problem with this was that it never really took away enough meter for it to matter. Now you have the ability to pop this and just shoot away if you don't want the fire effect or you don't want the knockaway explosion. You can use the acid bullet and just keep shooting away. And you'll still be able to drain meter, So there's the added benefit on that. Overall, I still don't think that this character will ever be fantastic. Not where he was like at the top of his game. But, maybe that's for the best thing. Because people really, really hated this character before. And surprisingly, people do still hate him now. But less so. So, us Deadshot players can just chill and actually enjoy the character. Alright, next up, the character we're going to talk about is Mr. Freeze / Captain Cold. Now finally they buffed this character. I still don't think they have done him justice. I completely agree with Sonic Fox where he said, he switched over to Firestorm. And he said the only reason he switched over to Firestorm is because NRS buffed a mid-tier character at best, Captain Cold, just because he played him. I mean, I'm gonna just go out and say it right now. The only reason this character got nerfed is because Sonic Fox played him and made him look incredibly strong. This character had nothing and they took away even the little bit he had. Now they've actually given some stuff back to him. First of all, I think a very significant change is that the second hit of this string is now mid. Now, I'm happy with this change. I'm very happy. It might not seem like much, but Captain Cold now finally has a 2 hitting slightly fast string that is actually a threat. Because the problem with these is, okay, that's just the normal high string, you know. This, okay, it's a mid, but it doesn't hit fast. Finally, you have this. The problem with this string before was, of course, that you could just neutral duck it and the whole thing would whiff over your head. You cannot do that anymore, and that is more significant than you think, considering the fact that this is 0 on block and this is +4. So if they block this standing, you will have a mix-up opportunity. Finally, they gave Cold a string that is actually properly plus on block. You can kind of set up some kind of offense, even though this is a high. But now that it's a high, mid, high, it does give this string a lot more just kind of usability in neutral, not just in combos. The other significant change to Cold is, well, first of all, I'll mention this is not significant, but this is quicker, the recovery on this. So the EX projectile, which still don't know what the use for this would be. However, more significantly, the hit region of set string, this, was adjusted. The problem with this string was that it sometimes was inconsistent because the enemies wouldn't get hit by the last hit, and you really need them to get hit by the last hit because it knocks away. Now with the hit region adjusted, you can pretty much just kind of go to town with it. You can do your jump and you are almost guaranteed that the string itself will hit. So very good. It eased his combo abilities, and again, it's finally giving him a good string, another good string to use in the neutral, because Captain Cold pretty much relied on staggering this all day, and that was the only thing he could do. Alright, now we're going to be moving on to the nerf side of things. The first character that was very good and got some nerfs, I mean, to be honest with you, no character got destroyed in this patch, but a character that did receive some nerfs is Dr. Fate. Now, the thing you have to understand about Dr. Fate is that a lot of top tier or like top players consider him to be extremely good. Certainly, with the removal of Deadshot from the game, we could almost say, Dr. Fate has without a doubt become the best zoner in Injustice 2. He is incredibly good at zoning, and luckily, NRS were smart enough to realize that that is kind of what the character is all about. They didn't actually change anything in terms of what he can do or how he zones. He still has, you know, a lot of these cool like Onk setups and all that. None of that is changed. However, what is changed is how much damage he dishes out. This deals less damage now. I think down from 8 to, well, 73. It used to be 8, now it's 7. Same with the meter burn, it scales accordingly. Just does less damage. The other significant change is the meter burned orb, the displacer orb. This thing was basically like an ice clone, like Dr. Fate's very own ice clone, which is for a zoner this good, that is extremely dangerous. All they did was they reduced the active frames, so how long it lasts. It lasts about a second less than it used to, if I remember correctly, from the patch notes. I don't have the exact frame data, but I think it used to be, God, I don't know what. I think it used to be 240 frames and now it's 180, if I'm not mistaken. So about a second less than it used to last. That is basically all the things that were done to Dr. Fate. He is still an incredible character. That is probably not going to change. His kind of just like core kit is so strong that he's still going to be able to zone the fuck out of you. He still has the Onk things. This still does a lot of damage, so don't worry, Fate players, you're not gonna be kind of... The character is not destroyed, so there's nothing to worry about. I think the final thing he got is some bug fix, which... You know, I'm not gonna really talk about the bug fixes, but still a cool character. I still like him. He's definitely one of the best looking characters in terms of gear. And yeah, hopefully he's just gonna be slightly toned down to where he was before. Alright, Firestorm. Firestorm got a lot of things done to him. This character was a problem. He was the last character in the game, maybe with the exception of Batman, that actually had a legit vortex. But even Batman's vortex was very, very heavily toned down. In full trait, this character used to have an honest-to-God vortex. Now, the thing that they changed with him, first of all, the down one hit region has been adjusted, slightly toned down. The problem is, of course, the patch notes do not actually specifically say what exactly was done, just that its hit region was adjusted, but I'm assuming it was toned down a little bit to what it was before. The other significant changes with Molten Trap, this is for both the EX and the normal one. The hit stun, the block stun, and the whiff recovery were all increased for this move. So the problem with Molten Trap is that from certain distances, even distances that were very close, it was impossible to punish. Now, if you miss this, there's actually going to be a penalty. You can, whether the opponent, you know, punishes with a projectile or not, that is really up to them. Now, I think if I remember correctly, Firestorm also had, due to this, his vortex taken away, because this doesn't trap for as long as it used to. He cannot do his flight cancel and do this move into a guess. Because that was kind of the whole thing with this character. He was able to loop this sequence in trade-in mode. Now, is Firestorm dead? Definitely not. I feel like, again, this is one of those characters that has now a very strong toolkit. He always had that, but the problem was that his trait was very bad. And now that that's changed, he actually has a usable trait. I think he's still going to be good. He was just way too good before. One of the most irritating characters in the game. And the character I was most worried about, because remember how last season or last year, everyone had Supergirl? Anytime anyone would lose online or even in tournaments, immediately jump to Supergirl. Well, that character now is Firestorm, or used to be. I think people will still use him. He still has a lot going for him. It's just, I'm hoping that he's going to be a little bit toned down. I mean, let's just check this. I mean, he still does quite a bit, but I mean, of course, if you go for the combo, that's different, but yeah. And again, I think this might last a little less than it used to. Still, he's not dead. He's just been a little bit toned down. And finally, perhaps other than Firestorm, the character that was most on everybody's hit list, Black Adam. Now, Black Adam is a weird character because he has been dominating Injustice 2 ever since the game came out. This dude has been nerfed and nerfed and nerfed, and is still always at the top. It's like actually incredible. I don't know how they keep not even messing it up, but how this character still manages to be really strong. The idea behind him is that he is very good offensively and very bad defensively. However, this is already a game with not that many defensive options. This is a very offense-focused game. So the best offensive character is always going to shine. And I think that's what really makes Black Adam a dominant force since the beginning of the game. However, with this patch, he has received a few nerfs. Not big, but first things first. This has been a little bit toned down. This now does less damage, which I think was probably the biggest problem that Black Adam had. This doesn't count as a projectile. This is its kind of its own thing, but it still goes full screen. It tracks and it knocks down. One of the best moves in the game. I mean, this used to go through Ice Clone. I mean, still does, but it can go through Ice Clone. It basically doesn't obey the laws of any other projectile in the game, and it dealt a lot of damage for it to be like that. Now it's still a little bit toned down. I mean, as you can see, the damage on it is still pretty damn good. It's just been, again, a little bit affected. Again, the other thing that was done to this is that it can no longer hit airborne opponents. One of the things is Black Adam used to throw this out, you would jump it, and as you would land, the second or third hit of it would hit you, and it was just kind of like very annoying to avoid. I'm trying to replicate this. As you can see, the third hit is still hitting because Batman is already landed on the ground, but pre-patch, the second hit would have hit him already as well. It was one of the most annoying things about this character. Other than that, Black Adam got a couple of bug fixes, but nothing really major. I think this is a step towards the right direction. To be honest with you, I'm not sure that enough was done to this character. I have a very slight suspicion that Season 2 of Injustice Pro Series is gonna be dominated by Black Adam. I mean, it's probably gonna be dominated by Sonic Fox, but, you know, I feel like a lot of top 8s are gonna be just absolutely stacked with Black Adam because he's still incredible, and the core toolkit of the character is, again, it's been untouched since the game first came out. Not complaining, but, you know, just I feel like that's gonna be something that's still gonna be happening. So overall, I gotta say I'm very happy with this patch, mainly for the Firestorm nerfs and mainly for the Captain Cold and Deadshot buffs. Hopefully this has been done enough to kind of address the character variety of the game, and more people are gonna kind of explore their options instead of just running to really top tier pocket characters. Gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. I'm gonna go ahead and go online because I want to try out my Cold and Deadshot. Let's see what happens. We'll see at least. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this little kind of patch overview for IJ2. I'll see you next time. I think if these characters are finally usable again, there might be some more Injustice content on the way. Gonna wrap it up here. Thank you for watching and goodbye.